This is a welcoming return for Tim Burton. Now, it's not the 100% return to form for Tim Burton, but I will say if you are a fan of Beetlejuice and if you're a fan of Tim Burton, this is definitely warrants a worthy try. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, my Epictastic community. It is Epictastic Joshua here. If you are a returning member, if you are at 80.4% who are new here, welcome. My name is Joshua Drake. I talk movies, TV, and on a few occasions music and anime. And I'm giving you guys my thoughts, no spoilers, of the 36-year-long awaited sequel, Beetlejuice. Because calling it Beetlejuice 2 wasn't good enough. This is, of course, the sequel to the 1988 original classic. This is the second film in the Beetlejuice franchise following that movie and the animated cartoon. This stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Justin Theroux, William Dafoe, Monica Bellucci, and Jenna Ortega. 3 generations of the Deetz family returning home to Winter River after an unexpected family tragedy. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life soon gets turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter discovers a mysterious portal to the afterlife. When someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, the mischievous demon gleefully returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. This is something that a lot of people have never thought actually would happen, and also this was a thing that's been trying to happen since the 1980s and 1990s. And years have gone by, and this is 36 years after the original classic. Of course, you're getting Tim Burton come back to direct, and also you got Winona Ryder, and also you got Catherine O'Hara coming back. But this time, we do not have Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, or Jeffrey Jones. We'll get into that back for certain reasons. And when it comes to a legacy sequel, this can go either way, because sometimes you have great legacy sequels like Blade Runner 2049 or Ghostbusters Afterlife, or even some other legacy sequels like Top Gun Maverick that's very good. And sometimes you get a very different other side of legacy sequels. So I was curious myself, being a Tim Burton fan, but the original Beetlejuice is also one of my favorites. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time, but is definitely one of my favorites of his. So I was actually pretty curious to see what he was going to go with. And the fact that this was the movie that brought him back to directing after Dumbo almost put him in retirement, and the motivation by Jenna Ortega to do it after Wednesday. So I was pretty much looking forward to it to see what was going to happen. And then also we were going to have new actors like Jenna Ortega and William Dafoe and Monica Bellucci. And then seeing the trailers and such, I became even more interested into it. And now, having seen the sequel to Beetlejuice, I can confidently say this is a welcoming return for Tim Burton. Now, it's not the 100% return to form for Tim Burton, but I will say if you are a fan of Beetlejuice and if you're a fan of Tim Burton, this is definitely warrants a worthy try, because this was actually a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. In terms of the positives of this movie, I will say the first big thing about it is that it is once again great to see Tim Burton getting back into his game after so many times over the years where he has had movies that have not been the best. Some movies that a lot of people don't like Dark Shadows or Dumbo, I actually like those, but it's just great to see that Tim Burton energy brought back fully into this movie, and he brings it back 100% into it. Tim Burton, you can tell that he's very passionate getting back into it, and that he just wanted to make another good movie in his career. So it's definitely not Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, but I will definitely say Tim Burton, he gets back into it. He definitely shows why he is still a good director despite the very ups and downs of his career. And I very much really enjoyed that what Tim Burton was doing in this, he definitely got to shine here. it doesn't feel like someone in studio interfering for him. It feels like Tim Burton is back on his A game. And it's great to see Tim Burton get that much needed film. So I will definitely say Tim Burton's direction is also very good here once again. Again, there are certain things in here that if you're a casual movie fan or if you're not a big Tim Burton or Beetlejuice fan, you won't enjoy. But I will say that Tim Burton, he got right back into the A game, and I very much enjoyed what he had to offer in terms of what he was doing. So I definitely really admired the fact that his direction was once again very good in here. I will say was just as good about it. I definitely appreciate the fact that not only his direction is just as energetic and as crazy and as weird as it has been a very long time, but I appreciate the fact that he used old school effects. Look, I don't mind CGI when you want to enhance the story, but it doesn't get any better than old school practical effects. And there is plenty of old school practical effects, from stop motion, the great makeup, the costumes, and the sets actually feeling like you're in that Tim Burton world of Beetlejuice. As long as the cinematography aspects by Herzog and Barlos and the visual flair of it. I very much really like the fact that we are back into that style of Tim Burton here. And with the sets and the makeup and the stop motion, the $100 million budget is definitely on screen. And it gets us back into that dark fantasy comedy side of horror. So I very much really enjoy a lot of what they have to go in terms of what you get. You definitely get exactly what you're coming here for when it comes to it. And I very much love that part of the film. It is great to see Michael Keaton back in here. Now, the screen time is just as the same as the first one, but they give him a little bit more to do in this. Michael Keaton, he is 73 years old, and he's still acting his fucking ass off. Because Michael Keaton is a great actor, of course, and he just has so much fun into the performance. He really gets it down. I very much love the way he plays this character. He plays it very much the same as it does. Of course, his voice has gotten a little different because he's older now. So it does take a while to understand what he's saying. But when he starts talking, it's just great to see him back. He gets that energy down. He got the personality down. It feels like Michael Keaton never missed a beat. Winona Ryder, once again, she also has never missed a beat. Winona Ryder, let me just say, she is a great actress. And I just love this resurgence. Between this and Stranger Things, she is, of course, a fantastic actress. And she is such an incredible actress to watch. Not only she's very attractive still at 52.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
No scenes, sugar. Just a little down-home charm.
I can explain.
But she does good as Lydia Deetz. She's no longer the teenager, but she's still pretty gothed and still the hostess of a TV show. And I definitely really enjoy her presence and her screen time here. And she's really good here. Catherine O'Hara was easily the standout as Delia Deetz. She was having the time of her life, and she's just having fun. She made me laugh a lot, and there was a lot of comedy in this movie that made me laugh a lot. I was just having fun with this movie, and I'm like, Catherine O'Hara easily the standout of this movie. So those original actors slips right back into it. I definitely really like the fact that they just slipped right back into it. Well, of course, with the elephant in the room, of course, with the story, I definitely like beats in the story. I like the fact that we have 3 generations of Deetz girls coming back with this unexpected tragedy, which is, of course, they don't say it in the trailers, but when you watch the movie, you know exactly who it is they're talking about when it comes to Jeffrey Jones' character, Charles Deetz, here. So I definitely I like the way they handled that, and they didn't have to go as much as they did about it, but I appreciate the fact, as a fan of the original film, despite that actors' criminal activities and such, I did like the fact that they wanted to acknowledge him. So that's the thing I definitely did like. I won't spoil it, but you'll see when you watch the movie. Also, Justin Theroux, some of the new actors, I thought him as Rory, he did a pretty good job as the current boyfriend and a TV producer. His character of course, has a little bit of, you know, certain that, but I actually really don't mind his character here for the most part, even though he's kind of just there to try and pursue Lydia, of course. William Dafoe is Wolf Jackson. He is still a standout. He has a lot of fun in terms of what he's doing in the movie, of course. You also have Arthur Conti as Jeremy, who is the love interest of Astrid. Jenna Ortega. Let's just take a minute and say that despite her character, she is on the rise. She continues to show why she is one of the more rising talents in the film industry working today as Astrid Deetz. Her character we'll get to in the negatives, but I will say the performance, she was good. She's not as used to the Tim Burton isms as everyone else, but I will say she does a good job for what she is given here. And between this and plenty of other movies that she's been doing with Scream and The Fallout and Wednesday, she is going places. She is going to be someone who's going to always continue to deliver great performance no matter the project. So let's just talk about Monica Bellucci, because of course Monica Bellucci, of course, she's in this movie because of her and Tim Burton. They have a fling, but honestly, her as Beetlejuice's ex-wife, she's not in this movie as much as I was hoping she would be, but I will say Monica Bellucci as Dolores, she's pretty badass in her opening introduction. When she's looking for Beetlejuice, she's giving a good performance. Her facial expressions, gives it all. Again, my issue with her, we'll talk about it, but I will say she is, of course, a great actress because she is a crowning achievement in Italian cinema. And for someone who's nearing 60, she is still a knockout. And in my simple words, not sorry to say it, and I'm not ashamed to say, Monica Bellucci, she is still fine as hell.
Kick-ass.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. I think it's signed, sealed, and delivered, honey. Yeah.
You feel love for her.
No.
Damn!
Yeah, okay. Bam! What?
Meow.
But in terms of the other technical aspects, I love the cinematography, I love the production design. This movie, it is a $100 million budget, and they make great use of that. That is amazing that they decide to use a $100 million budget. And the movie is paced very well. It's an hour and 44 minutes. It gets you straight in, gets you straight out. And Danny Elfman's score is definitely still just as great as ever. And I very much love his score in this movie. So it's absolutely fantastic, of course, here. And there are some nostalgic beats in this movie. And like, you do get your usual nostalgia beats, like certain characters mentioned or music played or certain things. But it's enough in this movie to warrant it its own film. I will say one of my bigger criticisms in terms of the movie, I will say, is the pacing and the story. While I do appreciate the fact that this is a pretty short length, and the cast and directors is so full of energy, and they all come to play. This has the same issue as Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and is that there is a lot going on in this movie in terms of the story. Now, I'm very happy he decided to put more of a story in this, but I feel like there are things in this that you could either trimmed out, or you could have made this a little bit longer, or made this a little bit longer. Like, this is only an hour and 44 minutes, and we could have had this at least be 10 to 20 minutes longer to flesh out the other such in this. And so, had we done that to focus on stuff like this relationship with Astra and this boy that she likes, which wasn't really clicking for me until it goes to a very much direction where I was like, awesome. The generational Deetz story was fine, but the things I was the most interested with that frustrates me was the Astrid Lydia storyline, which is something we've seen before, but I feel like because you have two emo characters, I felt like we should have had it to where they're embracing their emo side together, and I felt like that's something I felt like could have been reworked a little bit and focused on a lot more. As much as I love Dolores, Monica Bellucci's performance here, looking for Beetlejuice and wanting revenge on him, I kind of feel like that just gets quick and done and over with. Now, again, Monica Bellucci is great in the movie, and she's in here throughout the film, but I wanted more of her, and I wanted more of that story in terms of what we were getting in that. The subplot with Justin Theroux's here, yeah. Didn't really care much for that, even though I like his performance here. And we also could have used a little bit more of the horror vibes here, like the original classic did. Not to say the original film was particularly scary, but we could have had a lot more of the horror vibes be put into it. While I was paying attention, and it definitely comes together somewhat, I feel like, just like Frozen Empire, we could have had at least 10 to 20 extra minutes of movie to fully flesh out a few elements in the subplots there. Not that this is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire level, and I don't hate Ghostbusters Frozen Empire by any means necessary. I do like that movie, but it is kind of disappointing. It's just a 2.5 to 3 star film. I like this more than Frozen Empire here. I just wish if we focus on the issues in terms of the writing and story and just had a lot more time to flesh it out, I feel like we really could have delved into it a lot more here. But overall, when it comes to Ghostbusters, overall when it comes to Beetlejuice or Beetlejuice 2, I will say that despite my issues with the pacing of some of the story, and also I do miss Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's characters here, of course, and despite a few things that could have been handled better in the writing and the editing, I will say this is a sequel that has enough in there to warrant a recommendation. And while it's not the original classic, and I did not expect it to top the original classic, I got exactly what I wanted out of a Tim Burton Beetlejuice sequel. I got Michael Keaton, I got Winona Ryder back, Captain O'Hara, some crazy, trippy, crazy visuals, some new characters I like, some I wanted more of, and a good enough sequel that warrants its existence. And I wouldn't mind adding this to the annual Halloween watch list. If you have kids, if you have families, if you grew up with the original Beetlejuice, I think you're going to like this. If you are a Tim Burton fan, you're going to like this. But if you're not a big Tim Burton fan or a Beetlejuice fan, I don't see some of you guys enjoying this. But for myself, I had a very good time watching this. And for a legacy sequel that's 36 years later that we were all worried about, I had a lot of fun with this, and I would definitely recommend you see this in theaters. If you can't see it in theaters, wait till streaming, but at the same time, I would highly suggest watching this in theaters because you're going to have a fun time with this. And you're going to very much enjoy it, even if you don't love it. You will walk out of the theaters and say, that wasn't a waste of my time. And the question was I entertained with Beetlejuice 2? Absolutely, I was entertained. I definitely recommend this. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just checked out. If you're new here, or if you're a returning member, you must really like what I do in terms of talking all this stuff that I like to do. So, if you guys are interested in me talking movies, TV, music, and anime, and doing all sort of creative fun things with me, please consider hitting the channel icon over here, and there will be a video here and a playlist or a different video here. As always, acknowledge me, join the Epictasticness, stay Epictasticness, and until next time, you guys keep it cool.